Good morning. Happy Friday. Sunday is Pascha. Looking forward to it. I can eat meat again. Anyway, so Frauditor Troll, who is absolutely retarded and can't seem to shut up about his case, is, first of all, saying that the burden is on Randy to show that the attorney's fees are warranted, that he's entitled to them, and kind of, yes. If you read the case law in California on the anti-SLAPP motions, the case that the court cited and subsequent cases have all held, essentially, that there is a presumption that the party that dismissed with a pending anti-SLAPP motion dismissed it because of that anti-SLAPP motion, and the party that filed the anti-SLAPP motion is the prevailing party for that purpose. That's the presumption. So all Randy has to do is allege that they did not accomplish their litigation purposes, at least if assuming the federal courts follow the state on this part as well. I don't see why they wouldn't, since it's a state motion. So he has to allege they did not accomplish a litigation goal by filing it, that they dismissed it solely because he filed the anti-SLAPP motion, and therefore he's entitled to attorney's fees, and then he has to set out his lodestar for reasonable attorney's fees, etc. And then the burden shifts to Frauditor Troll to prove that there was some litigation goal that they accomplished by filing the SLAPP claim. And there's various cases that have goals that have been accomplished, and so the moving party, the party that filed the anti-SLAPP, isn't entitled to attorney's fees on it. But I don't see any of those particular things applying in this case. So again, my strong assumption, assuming that Randy doesn't fuck this up, and I see no reason why he would. He's seen, again, for whatever moral, personal, ethical failings Randy has, he seems like he's a competent attorney. He has shown competence throughout this entire, everything I've seen on him. And just because you don't win a motion doesn't mean that you're incompetent. He's made competent arguments. But unless he fucks up, he's going to get attorney's fees still. So I don't know what to tell you on that. Now, I had a lot of comments in my comment section that Vondren, the original attorney, the attorney who filed the SLAPP claim, offered to pay Frauditor Troll's attorney's fees related to that SLAPP, the anti-SLAPP motion. Now, I don't know if Frauditor Troll said that, but there is a thing called attorney-client privilege, and there is such a thing as called waiving the attorney-client privilege. If Frauditor Troll said that, I don't know how else anybody would have gotten that information, so I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that, assuming arguendo that Frauditor Troll said it, that could in theory be a waiver, and Randy could in theory get discovery on their communications, the communications between Vondren and Frauditor Troll regarding Vondren agreeing to pay any attorney's fees associated with the anti-SLAPP motion. Which, in theory, because Vondren will assert the attorney-client privilege, and there will almost certainly be a motion to compel, and who knows what the court's going to do. Courts, generally speaking, are loath to invade the attorney-client privilege, even if there is a waiver. So I'm not saying this will happen, but this could happen. But the court could order Vondren to turn over all the communications between him and Frauditor Troll regarding him paying the attorney's fees. And in those communications, most likely, are going to be admissions that, yeah, he's probably going to get attorney's fees because he prevailed, which would be very, very detrimental to Fraud Troll's case. Now, I'm not saying any of this is going to happen. Randy might be counting the dollars and the time associated with it, the likelihood of success, and he may never file this, but it is a possibility that it could happen, and a possibility that the court could say, yeah, you've got to turn over those communications now because your client waived attorney-client privilege by making these statements in public about communications between himself and his attorney. It is absolutely retarded for Fraud or Troll to be saying things about his case to anybody other than his attorney and his wife, because there's the marital communications privilege too. But he's fucking retarded. Like, that's all I have to say. Ask any attorney if they want you to go online and talk about what you and your attorney discussed in private, and they will adamantly, absolutely, 100% say, no! That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Do not waive the attorney-client privilege. On a related note, speaking of stupid, coincidentally, out of nowhere, shockingly, but like the day before, the U.S. is going to start negotiating a peace treaty with Iran, a new Epstein drop. Crazy. The timing. Such coincidence. And of course, the White House and Melania have to scramble to try to, do damage control. But isn't it weird and coincidental that the day before there's a peace treaty, in theory, or the start of peace treaty discussions between the U.S. and Iran, when Israel absolutely does not want the U.S. and Iran to negotiate a peace treaty, isn't it coincidental and odd that a new Epstein file drops? Carrots only take you so far. Sticks only take you so far. But if you combine a carrot and a stick, maybe you get a war in Iran. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.